AskReddit by Stmrg. What's the most scariest yet true fact you know of? Smoke from a wildfire is enough to kill your car's engine. Evacuate early or stay. Prepare and defend when defendable. But know this, if you're leaving, get out early. Once the smoke is thick enough to choke your engine, you ain't going anywhere. Another scary part of forest fires is the speed and heat. It's really unbelievable just how extreme it can get. We're talking people being practically cremated in their cars with no time to react. Also, fires in general are very easy to underestimate. If you accidentally light a flame, even if it's tiny, put that shit out immediately if possible. Especially indoors. If you can't, then get the fuck out. Bears don't bother with a killing blow. They just start eating. I recently watched that YouTube clip where the guy asked an MMA instructor who would win in a fight, a gorilla, a lion or a bear. The guy mentioned lions strangle their prey to death, then eat them. Bears just pin down their prey and start eating while their prey is alive. So lions are more merciful than bears. Dementia Alzheimer's starts 20 years before symptoms physically show up. Dementia and Alzheimer's is terrifying to me. My grandmother is suffering from dementia, and she's just gotten worse. It's a horrible disease I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Sometimes, something in your body can just go wrong and you're dead. Aneurysms, cancer cells, prion diseases, etc. My mother passed away from an aneurysm. It was abrupt. We thought it was a headache with a regular cold. It was late fall. After a couple of days her speech started slurring. Doctor told us the aneurysm was large and forceful. She basically didn't have a chance. Chainsaws were invented for use in childbirth. Dr. Leatherface OBGYN. You are made of more space than matter. And it's only the quantum level adherence of atoms that keeps you from spontaneously dissolving into those constituents. Yeah. If you break it down even further, you're really just a self-aware cloud of probability. Your heart will trigger electrical impulses showing a rhythm, but your actual heart has stopped, and sometimes, your body will still gasp for air after you've died for a few minutes. And yes, it's unnerving. Source: IQRN. Like that response where the body can still raise its hands up, even when brain dead. Educational to know, but very disturbing to see. Only scary because I live in Washington state. The Cascadia subduction zone off the coast of the Pacific Northwest of the US may possibly produce one of the largest earthquakes to ever hit the US within my lifetime. After the earthquakes here in Canterbury 2010/11, the powers that be did some serious research on the fault line that is the Southern Alps and discovered the very same, and if it goes well, fuck, the west coast will be in the Tasman and the rest of the South Island won't really be worth inhabiting. It may never happen, or it could start next week. I wouldn't even want to know what sort of dystopian shit it could end up like. One day, your mom picked you up, then put you down for the last time ever. Okay, I didn't expect to hurt people with this fact, lol, sorry. I read this when my kids were 13 and 15, and I made them let me pick them up. I'm 5'3" and they've been bigger than me since they were 11-12 years old. It was tough, but I picked them up and set them down. I will always remember it now. On the 25th of May 2003, a Boeing 727-223 airliner, registered N844AA, was stolen at Quatro de Fevereiro Airport in Luanda, Angola, prompting a worldwide search by law enforcement intelligence agencies in the United States. No trace of the aircraft has been found. Wasn't this the case where two guys stole a plane that they weren't qualified to fly and likely crashed somewhere? The crew aboard the Challenger were almost certainly alive and conscious after the explosion, and they probably didn't die until their cabin crashed into the ocean. The Apollo 1 astronauts burned to death in the command module on the pad. From memory, they technically died from heart attacks. But those guys were alive. screaming, and burning. There's a recording. Don't listen to it. Bamboo can grow through metal. They used to use bamboo as an execution method. They would tie a person down over a patch of cropped bamboo and it would grow through them within a few days. The notion that we live in a world where we have to distinguish between true facts and alternate facts scares the hell out of me. There's an entire segment of the American population for whom anti-intellectualism is something to be proud of. It's disgusting and embarrassing. My wife's great-grandmother was buried alive. They thought she was dead. They buried her in land owned by the families. 12 years later they dug up her coffin to move it because the family wanted to expand the farmlands. They found the lid of her coffin cracked and she had pulled out all her hair. How do they know if she was the one who pulled out her hair? What if her hair just fell out on its own? It's possible for an asteroid to evade our ability to detect it by hiding in the glare of the sun. As such, it's possible for a planet-killer asteroid to get close enough that we will only have a few days advance notice before it strikes Earth. So we send Bruce Willis and his oil rig gang up there. Easy. Of everyone in your close family, one of you will attend everyone's funeral and one of you will attend no one's. My mom's oldest sibling attended all of their funerals. He's in his 80s by now. Crazy thing is that youngest sibling passed first. In the US, a homicide is committed every 30 minutes on average. A rape is committed every 4 minutes. Terrifying. One of the top causes of death for pregnant women is murder. And one of the top causes of death of women in the workplace is also murder. This is due to intimate partner and family violence. Once you show symptoms of rabies, you're a goner. Terribly sad. I've seen the videos. Heartbreaking. I have no retirement account. Allow me to introduce you to the comforting thought that is, apparently, scary enough to some people to rank as one of the most upvoted posts on this list. I'm sure it would be traumatic for my loved ones, but dying of an aneurysm sounds way better to me than spending years being old and impoverished. No one really has control of this world. Lots of people both smarter and dumber to you and I are just making decisions or guesses. Mostly dumber ones. America lost a bunch of nuclear weapons during the Cold War, never found them. Did they actually lose them, or secretly hide them in an undisclosed base? There is a lot they don't tell us. The FDA has an acceptable rat feces level in foods. Also bug pieces. There is a thing among dogs called rage syndrome. Could be a sudden onset of idiopathic aggression, and has no identifiable cause. This happened to the neighbor's dog. He was a Keuka breed, and he was the kindest dog I know. The youngest in the family, M17, mentioned lately that the dog had a syndrome, but the parents didn't listen. One day, without provocation, the dog bit the face of the mother in the house. She had to get several stitches. Vacuum decay is pretty scary to think about. Basically the theory goes that our universe is in a false vacuum. Nature wants to be in its most stable state, so if that's the case then we could tip over to a true vacuum at any second. This means that everything is destroyed right down to atomic particles. This would happen at the speed of light, so if it did happen somewhere in the observable universe we would know about it, but we couldn't do a damn thing about it. It's basically instant death on a universal scale. Well, if it did happen, chances are excellent that even at the speed of light it would be billions of years away. Only 2% of reported sex crimes are prosecuted. And given how many sex crimes go unreported, that's even more dismal.